discuss this topic, and if this topic is triggering to you, we're going to be talking about death, suicide, funerals, and what it's like to lose someone that you're very close to. So, okay, my mom is like blowing up my phone. Okay, sorry about that. So, my best friend, her name is Taylor, and we met in college through our sorority, Chi Omega, and I remember, like, her energy was very vibrant and fun and, like, outgoing, like, my first impression of meeting her, but we didn't become, like, closer until later in that year. So whenever we both lived in the sorority houses, whenever we got to closer, so I have one picture of us here that I can show you guys. This is in front of our sorority house, and it says first day sophomore year. So this is Taylor and I, and part of me feels like, is this really my story to tell? Because, like, at the time we were best friends. Like, that's who I would have considered my best friend. So whenever she died, it was losing my best friend, you know? So where to start? Well, first of all, this shirt, Rae of Sunshine, is the organization that her mom founded. It is a nonprofit organization, and she travels to different schools and different types of places, and she tells Taylor's story, and she tells the story of, like, Rae of Sunshine, and the whole point of it is that a smile can potentially save someone's life. Like, if you are kind to people, and if you spread your light and your joy and your good energy on people, it might, you know, in their heart, help them out that day. So if they're extremely depressed or experiencing really difficult things, by you being nice to somebody, you're making a footprint in their story, essentially. So that's kind of like the point of the organization, and I will link her website down below so you guys can check it out. And if you want to support Taylor's mom and Taylor's foundation, then that's available to you all, but no pressure on it. I just wanted to, like, let you know where the shirt is from. She sells stickers and journals and, like, all kinds of stuff. But anyways, back to Taylor. So whenever her and I were best friends, she would tell me all about her, like, mental health struggles and her depression, and she did mention that she was suicidal one time, which was scary, because, like, as a friend, you're like, okay, well, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to, like, step up and, like, figure out how to help her? But the thing that I want to express to you all is that sometimes there's nothing that you can do to save somebody from their own destiny of what they're choosing to do to their body. And this is probably really controversial, and that's why I know this video, I'm not sure, like, how it's gonna go over, but I provided as much assistance as I thought that I could at the time, you know? Like, I would send her paragraph texts, I would send her stuff trying to encourage her, trying to help her see, like, another perspective of it, but also validating her feelings, because the number one thing here is, like, if you don't make people feel validated in their feelings or within themselves, and if they're seeking external stuff by, like, telling you stuff, like confiding in you, telling you difficult things, and if you're just going to be dismissive of them, they're going to feel extremely hurt and abandoned and lost if you don't provide them support, which, as a friend, it is kind of your job to provide support to your friends. So that is exactly what I tried to do, and I'm not sure if she had problems with me. That's something that I'll never know, but usually within our communication, she was very open and honest and would let me know if there's, like, problems. But I don't think that her and I had a connection like that where there were problems. I just know that we did get along really well, and I, like, sat with her in her darkness, you know, like, I understood the mental health issues. I understood feeling the way that she was feeling to an extent, right? But she would tell me that other people didn't understand her, and that she just, like, didn't feel completely, like, supported and all this stuff. So I can only do so much as one which she already was. She was getting professional help from a doctor, so medication, and also a therapist. So technically she had it all in that sense, but it just goes to show that even her amazing heart and as much hope as she had for the future, something in her told her that, I can't speak for her. I can't speak for why she did it. But it's just tough. So if you are a friend grieving a loss of someone who committed suicide, I'm very sorry, and it's a really tough thing to deal with, but I'm going to be controversial here and say that I know she's in a better place, and whenever it happened, of course I was in shock. Of course I bawled my eyes out, and I felt so broken and hurt and sad, and like I'm never going to see my friend again. But for some reason I feel like I kind of came around very quickly in the healing process, and it's because I knew she was so much better off where she was. And that's why I include this background. It kind of reminds me of like heaven, and I don't know. Like, her mom founded the organization Rae of Sunshine and said that she was a ray of sunshine, which I know she was. Like, she was a light to this world. But at the same time, like, the way that, oh, y'all, this is so bad. It's probably not a good idea to talk about this on the internet, but I'm giving trigger warnings in the beginning of the video, so hopefully that's okay. So the day of her funeral, I went with all of my sorority sisters, and it was interesting. It's like my friend, my best friend, my other best friend, and I, it seemed like we were getting somewhat of special treatment because people knew that Taylor was closest to the two of us. So it's kind of like you feel this sense of like people were putting you on a pedestal, and it was a nice feeling. Like, is that so weird and so bad to say? Like, it's a day for Taylor, but it's like for the first time in my life I felt like people really cared about me, and that's so like messed up. Like, at my best friend's funeral was the first time people started going out of their way for me and being nice. So that's also another thing that I want to talk about. Like, if you lose someone, random people from out of the woodworks will just contact you and make sure you're okay and like check in on you. And I had a friend reach out to me today who said, like, thinking of you today because it's the anniversary of her passing away, and it's the 2nd year anniversary of it. So it's like people expect me to like break and crumble on the day that she passed away, but if you don't feel that way, that's okay too. Like, I've come to peace with her death for a while now, and I guess I'm sharing this to show you that there's like two sides to the coin. Like, if you're still suffering, that's valid. Your feelings are valid. It's okay to still suffer. It's okay to miss the person. But for me personally, I guess I view death in a little bit of a different light. If someone was truly suffering in their mentality and they just couldn't do it anymore, I almost feel like her soul was almost too pure for this earth kind of thing, right? Like, so many challenges, so many different things, and she was so strong through it all. But at the end of the day, mental health is mental health, and thoughts of suicide may take over, and there's nothing that your friends or family can do because it's a single person's decision. And it's like you almost kind of need to respect what they did for themselves because that's what they thought was best. This is so controversial, guys. I don't know what you guys are going to feel about this, but like, I'm happy that she doesn't have to feel any pain anymore, and that she doesn't have to hurt anymore, and that she can be a guiding light to others, and that her mom's foundation, like Rae of Sunshine, like, she's making a lot bigger of an impact now that she's gone than she was on earth in a way. Like, her story is able to impact more people, more counties, more states of kids, and more, a bigger community of people. Hold on, my nose is like running. Delicious. So it's kind of sad that, like, it takes a person dying for people to start recognizing you and like caring about you, but it just happens. That's the way the cookie crumbles, and it's unfortunate, but that's kind of like part of what's motivating me to want to like do light work and like a healing career. I don't really first person I ever talked to about like wanting to have purpose in my career and like have meaning attached to it. So I know that she's my soul family, and she still is my soul family. Like, even though she's gone, her energy is still present. I don't think about her every single day, which might be kind of messed up since she was my best friend, but like, everyone just has a different grieving process. Everybody has a different moving on process, and you can't really like knock people for which, side of the story that they're on. I just feel like she's like a guardian angel now, and she's in her more true form because the earth was too toxic for her. She didn't see a way out, I guess, right? And there's only so much you can do. But for this part, I do want to talk about her funeral a little bit and how that impacted me. And it's really dark, but like, if you guys have been to an open casket funeral, this might, be along your lines of how you felt. But I've never heard anyone talk about it on YouTube, really, like, a normal person, whatever, other than like a mortician talking about it. But anyways, so I'm not gonna share the way that she died just for like privacy reasons, and like, we don't need to get into that kind of side of things, but it's very tragic, and it's hard to imagine your friend like in that position and like actually doing those things, right? But her funeral was in this tiny little church, and it was in Kentucky because that's where she's from, and that's where we go to school and everything, so it's just like in the vicinity. So our entire sorority went, and then there's like a long line, and I'll never remember the feeling of like walking in and like seeing the casket and like slightly seeing her like laying there. Scary. It's like a really weird, eerie feeling. And at first I was like, why is this open casket? Like, I personally don't really like open casket, but maybe for like other people to see and for other people to like understand that she's gone, like they need that. I'm not sure like that Taylor would have wanted that, and that's kind of like the controversy behind this all. It's like the clothing that she was wearing, the jewelry that she was wearing, she didn't look like who she wanted to be. It's kind of like who her mom wanted to like present her as. Like, there's a, what is it called, Vera Bradley blanket around her like leg area. There were like just jewelry that she never wears, and she had a nose ring, but her mom had it taken out for it. And it's just so weird. This is probably really dark to share. I know I keep saying that, but I hope that this isn't like too much for you guys or too triggering. It might be, but I just want to share. I just want to talk about this, so I apologize. And like, waiting in the line with a bunch of people to see my friend dead, it was like such a weird feeling. And like, I got really nervous and I didn't want to go see her, but my other friend was like, no, like, we need to see her, like, we need to say her goodbyes. I'm like, whatever. So I feel like I was playing more of a role to like be a support to her by doing it. So we walk up together, and I feel like my friend and I were like holding hands or like close to each other or something, like really close, like shoulder to shoulder, like trying to almost subconsciously provide comfort to each other. And then she was like talking about, should we touch her? Like, I think we should touch her. And I'm like, oh my god, like, I don't want to do that. But I did, and it is exactly what people say. Like, it's like touching a ceramic doll. Like, we touched her hands and said like, goodbye, Taylor. And her mom was like, it's okay. Like, her mom was so nice. She's like, it's okay, like, you can touch her. Like, and she touched her first to like show us that it was okay. Like, I can't even imagine like the pain that her mom was going through, and like hosting this funeral. Like, that's it was a very impactful day for me, and it's a day that I'll never forget. But it's weird. I don't know, like, being around a body, I just don't really think it's necessary. But if that's your experience that you guys have gone through, like, it's tough. I get it. And I have never had a grandparent die or anyone else in my family die or anyone that I knew, so this was my first time experiencing this. And yeah, so after the funeral, we were sitting by like her boyfriend and everybody, like the guys, the pallbearers, and after the funeral we were waiting outside, and people were like clearing the way for like my friend and I to like go to the front and like wait for the casket to be like brought outside the doors. And again, with the special treatment, it's just so weird that people like treat you like so amazing all of a sudden when they never did before. So that's like the frustrating thing about like people dying. It's like all of a sudden people just start treating you differently. I don't know, like I appreciate the support and I appreciated like all the texts and stuff like that, but like at the same time, I don't know, it's just weird. But anyways, yeah, so after that, then we went to her, where she was going to be buried, and that was the most beautiful sight that I've ever seen. It literally like reminded me of this, and it was like on this really big hill, and I'm pretty sure that it was a gloomy day, like rainy, snowy. It was snowing outside. Yeah, so it was beautiful. It was beautiful. She had a rose gold casket. It was white, and then it had rose gold all over it, and it was just like something like, it looked like a dream casket, right? It was beautiful, and just like the flower arrangements and everything, like it was a very special day. And like the term like laying someone to rest, like I feel like that truly was what was happening, and it already felt like closure enough to me. Like beyond that, of course, like I felt the effects of it, and just like realizing that I'm not gonna like see my friend again. But because I was like kind of beginning my spiritual journey around then a little bit, it was nice because I was like, this energy feels good. Like this energy of her being gone, it's like her light is gonna continue to shine, and I was grateful for that. And it was almost like a guiding light for me, and it made me realize that there's more than just what's in front of us on earth, which was a good reminder, because I'm just tired of all these fake ass bitches and, you know, people caring about materialistic shit and like trivial shit, and just being with toxic friends and being with toxic guys and stuff. And like I was just so glad that she'd never had to like deal with that ever again, right? So yeah, I don't know what else to talk about along the lines of this. I feel like I did share like too much information in a way, but at the same time, it's my side of the story, and it's like what I experienced and the feelings that I felt. And just more on like our friendship, I feel like she was the only person who I actually like wanted to be around and understood me and understood my future. And that was the first friend that I ever had that like I could tell about career stuff and like life path related things. And like we both were dating guys in the same fraternity, and we pretty much lived with them. So we both lived in the Kaio house together, and then we just didn't like it there. Like we were bonding over that, the fact that we didn't want all this feminine energy, and like she was more like masculine in a sense, just like I was, like the cool girls. Sorry to say that, but you know what I'm saying, just like chill, calm, collected, not overly like a lot of the girls in the sorority were. So like her and I were drawn to each other. And then our third friend, she also had that same energy, so that's why the three of us kind of like came together and connected and stuff. And my third friend had more of an issue with Taylor dying, and it was kind of hard to comfort her after a period of time, because the way that she was dealing with it was different, and like I felt bad, and I felt like I couldn't say my truth on like, oh well, she's in a better place now, blah blah blah. Like I understood how bad it was, so it's like not that bad that she's gone, because you know she's not suffering. So like, also just advice for you all, it is hard to comfort other people if they're not on the same wavelength of grieving, but that's okay. And like if you feel like incompetent in that sense, just like take a step back and like try your best to be friendly and gentle with them. But beyond that, you can't really do much. Like everyone's gonna grieve differently. So yeah, I miss Taylor, I miss our friendship, and if she were still here today, I definitely would be spending time with her, I'm sure, and she would be on the same like light worker, light path journey as me, but hers just needed to take a more ethereal, spiritual form. So the message is still being carried on, but it's just in a different way. But I'm glad that she still is making an impact on people's lives, and her mom has so much strength to like tell her story and everything, and like, you know, work on this brand and this nonprofit and everything, and she travels and talks to people, so it's awesome. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna upload this or not, so if I do, there you guys go. It is kind of harder to talk about than I thought it was gonna be. I thought I was just gonna have this like really eloquent stuff to say, but death is hard. Death is a hard topic to talk about, especially suicide and like mental health stuff, and like everyone's story is different, so it's just a tough thing. But yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this wasn't too triggering or too much for you, but you know, it's real shit. It's real shit out here. People die, people commit suicide, people, you know, deal with really difficult things out here. So I love you guys. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I'll talk to you in my next video.